I'm Scott Al Miller. It's the 16th of April, 2023. This is my vlog of daily life living in Leon, Nicaragua. Today, it's just kind of a low topic day and gonna be a short one. We got a lot of good stuff coming up, but I'm gonna tell you about it after the bump. All right, vlog family and all the little people who live in the tiny little box at the end of my tripod. Welcome to the show. It is a kind of crazy week. We have a lot going on, and today my big thing that's going on for me, first of all, April's coming to stay for a few days, so she's hanging out at the house, and she's gonna be heading to Canada in a few days, so she's just here to get ready, making things easy. They'll be taking her to the airport in a few days, so we have a lot of logistics going on for all of that. But today, my big thing is my Panasonic Lumix FZ300. This is the camera that I used and took on, so first of all, I used it for conferences back in 2016, 2017, and we were gonna use it in 2019, but you know, COVID and didn't have conferences that year. But that camera, it's the only bridge camera I've ever owned. It's a really nice camera. I loved it a lot. It's a 1/2.3 inch with this huge zoom lens from 25 to 600 and really fast f2.8. Love that camera, but from a practical standpoint, I haven't been using it in a really long time, and it's just been sitting in a closet. And the biggest problem is it's not in perfect condition. The lenses and everything are fantastic, but some of the controls have gotten sluggish, so they're not registering. And because it's a built-in zoom, there's no twist or anything. You have to use these buttons, and the buttons don't react. So sometimes you're like, I gotta get this shot, and it doesn't go, and then something, it doesn't stop. And so you spend a lot of time trying to get it to do things. And for someone who's doing videography like full time, I can never use it. And as a photography camera, it's just not up to par with the other cameras that I have. If I'm just gonna take photographs and wanna carry something similar, like my Nikon D3500 is just so much better. And that's not even my main camera, right? So using this bridge camera for photography doesn't make any sense given the photography cameras that I have. And for video, it just isn't holding up. I used it a couple times out at the hotel. It is supposedly weatherproof, but the controls just weren't. So I decided it was time to give it away and let some people who would really get use out of it use it instead. So for me, it's a little bit hard giving up that kind of stuff. You know, it's weird, especially here. You don't get to have as many things. Like, you know, you don't buy as much, you don't own as much. So giving something away is like, woo, the house is that much more empty. But really, I'm just storing it. I'm storing the batteries. They're gonna go bad. The camera's just getting older and older. Yeah, it's 4K, like it looks great. If you look at my Take Flight with Scott video series, and if any of you haven't watched that, go watch that. Those are not that long. They're normally about 5 to 8 minutes per episode. There's about 10 episodes, and they got good music. They got beautiful scenery. It's Greece and Italy and Spain, and like, those are cool. Go watch those and enjoy those videos, and more will eventually make it up. But they're pretty cool, and that's where I learned a lot of my early editing. And so they really got a lot of work was put into them. Of course, it's not the best work, right? And I didn't have things like Final Cut Pro and Motion VFX and Epidemic Sound. So every little thing, like being able to put an image on the screen, was a lot of work, and just, yeah. So go check that out. That's where I learned to do this stuff. Now I'm fast and efficient, you know, doing tons of videos in a couple a day. It used to be I took a month to do one. Now I do 2 a day. But so that was a big thing for me, because it is Sunday, and we just had a lot of that kind of stuff today. And so my topic for the day, sorry, I went on for a bit about that, but waxing poetic about a camera that I'm giving away. But it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do, and it frees up the space for the new camera we have coming in about 2 weeks. So can't wait to show you guys some stuff. Hopefully it's a lot more useful than that one. The thing I was going to talk about today, I've been wanting to do this topic for a long time, like maybe 8 years, but it never had the right time. Today, this drove me crazy, and I just needed to talk about it. One of the things that happens in Nicaragua, and this is so ridiculous, but there is always someone at the door. I don't know how to exactly describe this, but it never ends. No matter what we do, no matter where we live, there is something about, and I'm complaining about something pretty stupid here, but as someone who works from home, as someone who's always on the phone, like every moment of the day, I'm either on the phone or I'm concentrating on a project. There is no, I'm sitting around doing nothing. That's not entirely true. Every morning we sit out and we have coffee and I kind of do nothing. So, okay, legitimately there is some time, but that's at like 6:30 in the morning until like 8:30 in the morning. Very few people are out and about at that point. But now, it was far worse when we lived in Granada because random people would come and harass us intentionally. It was a bit worse when we lived in La Barrio because we were downtown and there's just a lot more traffic. But even out here in rural Sutiava, and it's all legit, I have to say, or 99% it's legit, people are coming to the door non-stop. And by the door here, we're in a gated community. So they're coming to the outside gate, ringing the doorbell. We have to get up, get out of the house. We can't see the gate because it's so far. We could go look at the security cam, but it's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's pretty, we know it's someone doing a delivery or whatever. You got to walk out of the house, open the gate, walk way out around, go way up to the gate, open it up, let people in. And often it's someone coming to collect the garbage, or it's someone coming to work on the house, or someone delivering something, or someone who has a bill, or it's the rabies inspector, or the mosquito inspector, or the whatever. And it's just what amazes me. When I lived in Texas, I could go a week, I could go a month without a single person coming to the house that wasn't like, oh, I have a friend that I invited over, right? Oh, we call up April, call up Rachel, they're gonna come over to the house, it's 7 o'clock at night. We know who's coming, they text us, oh, I'm arriving, I'm pulling up, okay, we unlock the door, door's unlocked, come on in, I'm in my office, whatever, right? Like that stuff was easy and it was so rare, and it was always, I'm waiting for you, like, oh, I'm just on the couch watching Netflix, I know you'll be here in the next 30 minutes because you've already left the house, pick up Subway on your way over, right? Like that stuff happens one way, but here, it's always unannounced, it's always unexpected, and it could be anybody with anything. It could be lawyers, accountants, someone doing food delivery, could be absolutely anything. And it happens so often, I cannot fathom how it needs to happen as often as it does. And the reason that it bothers me, the reason that it drives me completely crazy is, one, they always have to ring a doorbell or be really loud. Like there is no texting ahead of time. Like just people don't do that. So there's no like I'm prepared and we can make sure someone's ready to answer the door. It's, oh, a buzzer goes off or whatever. No one knows who it is. And so it interrupts everybody, right? Is Paul sitting outside? I don't know. Maybe he'll go get it. Is Yao out and about? Well, maybe she'll go get it. I have to wonder, did someone go? Maybe I need to go. But I'm on the phone most of the time, or I'm getting interrupted at work one way or another. And then you get outside, maybe you see someone's already going. And this sounds like this must be an us problem, but I guarantee if you live here, every person is having this issue to some degree. There's just so much people stopping by as part of how everything works. Every bill is delivered. So if you think about every bill that you get in the United States, your cell phone bill, your power bill, your water bill, just whatever, those things are all delivered by hand. So if you have, say, 5 of those bills, that's 5 days of the month, someone is going to stop by, ring the doorbell, and hand you a piece of paper. And for us, what we find is they often ring our doorbell instead of our neighbors. So if there's 3 of us next to each other, they're ringing ours 15 times instead of 5 because they're like, oh, well, these guys answer the door, so they ring ours and we go answer it for other people. It could be Paul coming back with the car and he didn't have his keys. That's not very common because his keys are on the keychain, but that kind of thing. It could be someone delivering a pizza. Every time we order food, the same thing happens. That's not a huge deal. We know they're coming, but it's just one more thing where something about the Nicaragua lifestyle has created this need for other people, and this is the stupidest thing for me to complain about, right? There's so many people who do things for us, and they all come to the house and they need to be here, and I have to let them in so they can do those things. Like, come on, Scott, what are you complaining about? But what's weird, though, is that, like, most of the time, I don't even know who it is. I don't know why they're there. I have, like, and because they're unannounced, it's always in the middle of a call. I've got to be like, hold on, I've got to go deal with this. And I go and walk way out around to go, hey, what are you doing? Oh, you're here to see so-and-so, let him in. And, like, and it's just, it's a real thing to think about, that there's just always someone waiting at the door for us. And it's interesting that life is so in person. There is so much of people stopping by that all throughout the day, because our house kind of works like a working space. Like people work on the house. We're constantly having the water tank worked on and the garden worked on. And of course, sometimes it's the gardeners, sometimes it's the maid, sometimes it's the cook, sometimes it's the everybody maid. I mean, some of those people have keys, but it's always someone coming to do something. And it's always good stuff. It's just really hard to explain the frequency with which the doorbell needs to be rung for people to be let in. I would never guess that you could have so many people, and you would think it would just be so outrageously expensive that you would never be able to actually have that many people coming, and that's not exactly how it works. Like, it's very just course of the day, all kinds of people coming, and of course so much of it is so good, right? Like, instead of us taking our dog to the vet comes to us, but the vet has to ring the doorbell. So there's just, oh, gotta go get the gate. Why is there? Oh, he's dropping off food for the dogs. Oh, he's bringing medicine for the dogs. Oh, he's just coming to check up on the dogs. All kinds of little things like that. Everyone stops by. And it's the most fantastic thing. We don't have to pack everyone up in the car and go somewhere. But when we used to do that, other people, because I'm in the office working, so this is why I notice it the way, because I'm working all day long. And so every time the doorbell rings, it's like I'm in the middle of trying to record a video, or I'm trying to be on a call or whatever, and I have to start the video over because of the sound, or I have to hang up the phone because I'm in the call. Those things make it very difficult for me to deal with. And when we're in Texas or whatever, it would always be, oh, they're all going in the car and going to deal with whatever it is. And it was tons more work to do that. So this is really not a complaint about the fact that everybody comes to the house. It is such a huge change in culture. It is you would never, ever put it on your radar as name something that's completely different about Nicaraguan life than American life and say, people stop by the house with 80 times the frequency. Like, instead of once a month, it's more like 10 times a day. And you'd be like, what? There's no way. Yeah, it's really like that. 10 times a day is probably high, but it's probably 5 every day. I cannot think of a day. And it's simple things like the Bumba guy, the guy who does I'm beginning to forget my English words, the guy who does the pump. We have a water pump and it needs a new gasket. Well, when he comes and inspects it, that's one time. Then he leaves and then he comes back later that afternoon with the gasket. So that's 2 times right there in a single day. The gardeners come, and anytime the gardeners come, they come to collect the money separately later in the day. So that's 2 times every time the gardeners come. The waste pickup. A lot of times he comes, fills up the cart, and needs to come back. There's 2 times early in the morning just for that. It doesn't take very much to add up to 5 or more times per day once you go an entire day and you're thinking about the bills and all the different services and maintenance. And we have meetings at the house, so a lot of times it's someone coming to drop off some coffee for us to try, or it's a grocery delivery, or it's any number of things. It just adds up, but it's all things that you would never, ever think of until you move to someplace like Nicaragua and say, wow, life is so different. You never think about the little things like, how are you going to deal with constantly answering the door? And that's one of the reasons that we have staff in the house, because the amount of time that we need to be listening for and reacting to the door is so much that Paul is almost never home. He's out running errands all throughout the day. As I'm recording this, he's been gone all day running errands around the city and is now at the beach running errands. Dominica is almost always working on some project. I'm almost always in the office doing something. It is really easy to have none of us available to just go answer the gate and it could be something really simple. Someone's here to work on the pump. Someone's here to do the gardening. We have to have someone who's at the house to deal with all that stuff. And it's extra for us because of the dogs. Every time it rings, the dogs freak out and it's like extra. So something to think about. I think you will notice the same kind of effect when you come to Nicaragua. Coming up tomorrow, I am doing this. Today was a weird kind of episode. I had to fill it in. I've already done tomorrow and the days after. So doing well. Tomorrow's, I think you're going to really like. I'm really excited about tomorrow's episode. So today was kind of a short one. Tomorrow's a big one. I can announce it ahead of time. The 7 things that were our real reasons why we moved to Nicaragua. And I've done kind of episodes like that in the past, but someone specifically asked me for this, And it's been a long time, and we've never broken it down in this way. I think it's going to be a really good episode and one that you're going to want to share with people, and hopefully it does really well. So the 7 top reasons why we chose to move to Nicaragua, coming up tomorrow at 7 a.m. Mountain Time because of the shift in the U.S., 7 a.m. Central American Time. Is when it actually officially goes live. Thanks for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Scott Allen Miller. I say that every time. If you want to get in on the conversation, ask me about the crazy amount of people ringing the doorbell. Get down there in the comments, scroll down. If you have nothing else, just say hi, whatever. Let me know about the music and the bump. There's a couple of you that do every day. Thank you. I really do appreciate the feedback. I really don't know what people are paying attention to, what you like, unless you get down there and say things. So I really appreciate that. Like and subscribe, share on social media, Reddit, get in there, have some arguments. No, Nicaragua is not what you think. I can't be the only voice of reason arguing about Nicaragua online. And post on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on websites you're frequenting, Facebook for sure, because I don't have that. Get on there, tell your friends, send them a link, and I will see all of you tomorrow.